She was 9 years old. Umed's shop, in broad daylight. Minutes later, an defame.
In the quiet market town of Boston, Lincolnshire, summer afternoons were usually peaceful. Children played outside local shops. Families greeted one another by name. The streets were familiar, predictable, safe. But on July 28, 2022, that sense of safety was shattered in a matter of seconds. 9-year-old Lilia Valutyte was sitting outside her mother's small shop in Fountain Lane. It was an ordinary afternoon. CCTV cameras captured her drawing with chalk on the pavement. Her scooter was nearby. The world felt normal. What happened next would become one of the most disturbing child murder cases in recent British history. At approximately 6:20 p.m., Lilia was stabbed in broad daylight, in a public place, with witnesses nearby. The attack lasted only moments, but its impact would last forever. Emergency services rushed to the scene. Paramedics worked desperately to save her. Police sealed off Fountain Lane. Air ambulance crews arrived. The small alleyway that once echoed with children's laughter was suddenly filled with sirens, flashing lights, and fear. Despite every effort, Lilia died from her injuries. News spread quickly through Boston. Parents raced to collect their children. Shop owners locked their doors. Social media flooded with shock and confusion. How could something like this happen here? Lilia was described as bright, kind, and full of life. She loved drawing. She loved spending time with her family. She had dreams. She had innocence. And in an instant, it was gone. Police launched an immediate and intensive investigation. Officers reviewed CCTV footage from surrounding businesses. Witnesses were interviewed. Forensic teams combed the scene for evidence. Within hours, authorities identified a suspect, 26-year-old Deividas Skebas. He was arrested the following day. What shocked many was that early reports indicated there was no known connection between the suspect and Lilia. No prior relationship, no clear motive. The randomness of the attack unsettled the entire country. Investigators revealed that Skebas had been captured on multiple CCTV cameras in the area before and after the incident. He was seen moving through the town center. He appeared calm, unhurried. In court proceedings that followed, prosecutors presented evidence that described the attack as sudden and unprovoked. The nation watched as details emerged. Lilia's family issued statements describing their unimaginable grief. Her mother spoke of the unbearable pain of losing a child in such a violent way. Her father described Lilia as their little angel. Vigils were held in Boston. Flowers covered Fountain Lane. Teddy bears, handwritten notes, candles, all placed by strangers who could not comprehend the cruelty of what had happened. The case moved through the British legal system. During trial proceedings in 2026, the defense argued diminished responsibility, citing the defendant's mental health history. The court heard testimony regarding psychiatric evaluations and previous behavioral concerns. However, prosecutors maintained that the evidence demonstrated intent and awareness. After deliberation, the jury returned a guilty verdict. Deividas Skebas was convicted of murder. The courtroom fell silent as the verdict was read. For Lilia's family, there would be no true closure, only justice within the limits of the law. The judge addressed the severity of the crime, describing it as senseless and devastating. A life sentence followed. Yet beyond the legal outcome, deeper questions lingered. How does a child become the victim of random violence in a public place? Could warning signs have been detected earlier? Were there missed opportunities for intervention? The case sparked national conversations about mental health systems, community safety, and knife crime in the United Kingdom. Experts weighed in. Some criminologists explained that while rare, stranger-on-child attacks often create amplified fear because they challenge society's basic assumption of safety. Others pointed to the psychological complexity of offenders who may not fit traditional criminal profiles. Boston, Lincolnshire struggled to heal. Parents who once allowed children to play outside without worry now watched closely. Shopkeepers installed additional security. Schools offered counseling services. But the deepest impact was emotional. Residents described feeling betrayed by randomness, because random violence is harder to process than targeted violence. There was no warning, no conflict, no escalating argument. Just an ordinary child on an ordinary afternoon. Lilia's name became a symbol of innocence lost. In the months following the conviction, her family worked to ensure she would be remembered not for how she died, but for how she lived. Memorial events celebrated her life. Fundraisers supported child safety initiatives. The community united in grief. True crime often focuses on perpetrators. But this story is not about a killer. It is about a little girl who deserved to grow up. It is about a mother who stepped away briefly, never imagining it would be the last time she saw her daughter alive. It is about a town forced to confront the unthinkable. Experts in child protection say that cases like Lilia's are statistically rare in the UK. Homicide rates in England and Wales remain relatively low compared to global averages. Yet statistics offer little comfort when tragedy strikes so personally. The CCTV footage, never publicly released in full, played a central role in securing conviction. It demonstrated movements, timelines, and critical moments. Forensic evidence reinforced the prosecution's case. The justice system moved carefully, as it must, because the gravity of a murder conviction requires certainty beyond reasonable doubt. In victim impact statements, Lilia's family described the emptiness in their home, her room untouched, her drawings preserved. They spoke not in anger, but in sorrow. Their words reminded the nation that behind headlines are human beings navigating grief that never truly ends. The trial also reignited debate over mental health support systems. If someone shows signs of instability, what safeguards exist? Where does personal responsibility end and systemic failure begin? These are difficult questions, but they matter. The legacy of this case extends beyond Boston. It highlights the fragility of safety. It challenges assumptions about public spaces, and it reminds us that violence can intrude where it feels least likely. Today, Fountain Lane looks much like it did before. Shops open, people walk by. But those who live there know something changed. There is a plaque remembering Lilia. There are still flowers on anniversaries. And there is a quiet understanding among residents that innocence once lost cannot be fully restored. For viewers watching this story, the instinct may be fear. But experts urge perspective. Cases like this, while devastating, are uncommon. Communities across the UK remain overwhelmingly safe. Yet one life lost is one too many. Lilia Valutyte was 9 years old. She liked to draw. She smiled easily. She trusted the world, and the world failed her. The court delivered justice according to the law. But justice does not erase absence. It does not silence the echo of a child's laughter that once filled an alleyway. It does not rebuild a family's future. This is the tragedy at the heart of this story. Not mystery, not speculation, but loss. As the years pass, the case may fade from national headlines. But for those who loved her, time does not move the same way. Grief reshapes calendars. Birthdays become painful reminders. Ordinary afternoons feel heavier. And yet, resilience emerges. Communities adapt, families endure, memories transform into legacy. Lilia's story is a warning, yes, but it is also a call to protect innocence wherever we find it, to support mental health systems, to strengthen community vigilance without surrendering to fear, to remember that behind every crime statistic is a name, a face, a child. This is not simply a crime story. It is a human story, a story about fragility, about justice, about a little girl whose life mattered, and about a town that will never forget her,